All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're back on the topic of gender. Now, this blurry lady that you see on the screen identifies as a black, queer, neurodivergent life coach. That's what she does for a living. She's a life coach. And she was invited to Wheaton College to speak about intersectionalism. And somehow the topic of what is a woman came up. She was asked, how do you deal with the question, what is a woman, when presented to you? And she went on and on to say gender is a social construct. It's all rooted in whiteness and, you know, the typical crazy leftist answers. But we're about to get into this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we watching. Now let's roll it.
A valid response to the question of what is a woman. Womanhood is a social construct. It's definitive based on time and culture. So people always argue like, oh, womanhood is not a social construct, but what womanhood is based on, you know, our past versus now has changed versus, you know, what womanhood is for us versus other cultures. So case in point, the color blue wasn't associated with men until in I think the 40s, and men wore pink for a while as well. And so the fact that like it's just so fluid within history and different cultures is a testament to the fact that it's a social construct. And being a social construct means that it is very much individualized, that it's not stagnant. So I guess I would start there. And also that like womanhood can't even be defined because gender is a social construct, and gender currently is defined by white dominant culture of the binary. Any binary in and of self, but especially gender, it's all colonization. Like it's the erasure of everybody else. Like even sex is a spectrum. I'm like, there's very little in human behavior that's absolute or black and white, no pun intended. So why should that be limited, you know, to everything else but gender and sexuality and all the things? So yeah, like.
All right, so let's talk about it. I think gender being a social construct is a cop-out answer that these people give because they can't directly answer that question while also having to maintain their ideas that men can be women and things like this. You can't define what a woman is if you also think that a man can be a woman, because then it just makes no sense. Or that transgender women are women. It makes no sense. Once you believe that that's true, that pretty much erodes what a woman is biologically to you in your mind. But whether you want to call it a social construct or not, gender comes from biology. It comes from sex, which is biological. It's only two sexes. It's a male and it's a female, a man and a woman. Now, these people love to bring up intersex and, you know, they love to make rules out of exceptions, but you can't make rules out of exceptions. And that goes for anything. Exceptions are like a gray area, something you could talk about, but we can't say, oh, look, there's an example of this. There's this anomaly. That doesn't mean that totally erodes what the other 99, 0.5% of people are. Now, she talked about different cultures and gender being a social construct, all because of colonialism, but there's something that every single culture has and had in common. The reason why all of these cultures, all of our cultures have been able to make it, have been able to last as long as we have been lasting, is because men are men and women are women. We do and fulfill the roles that help society to advance, that help society to create more humans. That's how we've managed to make it this far. If you go back in time to when things weren't so civilized, men and women operated in the best way optimal for survival. That meant that men, being the bigger, stronger, and faster of the two sexes, took care of hunting and gathering and doing things like that, and that women, birthed children, they raised children, they nurtured the children, they took care of the house while men was gone, because men could be gone for you never know how long. Sometimes they didn't even come back. But that wasn't a social construct. That was men playing true to their biology and women playing true to their biology. And we've came so far from those times, but I guarantee you, if we ever get back into a survival setting where men have to go fight and women have to take care of kids, women like this are not going to be lining up to fight. They're going to be fitting right into that social construct that lets them stay at home and take care of things in the house. I mean, look at what happened with the Ukraine war. They sent women away and men had to fight. That's not just social constructs. That's biology. Men are bigger, stronger, faster. We want men to do the fighting, not women. And women have the capability to birth children. So if all the women are gone because they fighting, if you get rid of a society's women, how will more babies come? You need women to birth children. This isn't a social construct. Men just can't do that. This is biology at play here. In her long and empty answer, she spoke more about gender roles rather than gender itself and what a woman is, because she couldn't answer that. But we all know that if you're a man or a woman and you don't fit into what your typical gender roles are, you know, that does not mean that you aren't what you were born as. You still are what you're born as. You just happen to have interests that are a bit different. And in today's much more civilized society, that's how we get to a place where people can think things like this, because we aren't operating out of survival no more. People can pretty much just roam around freely, you know, go work their jobs and you know, and live in peace for the most part. But like I said, if we ever got back to a time of survival, people would not be talking about this. They wouldn't want gender to be a social construct. Women just like her would want to be at the house, doing laundry and cooking food, because she wouldn't want to go fight no wars.
If you're looking at the comment that they shared was, I was just sharing in my group how one of my coworkers challenged my identity using the trick question of, what is a woman? And they unfortunately did not have a chance to, you know, debrief with their group. So I don't know if anyone has a way to respond to like shut that down in the moment. How can we be the bystander in that moment? How can we interrupt the harm in action? Just this idea. So like asking someone like, well, what is a woman? Which is just, gender is already a social construct. So to even ask that question just shows that this person doesn't understand the idea of like what gender is. So many things that we consider as truth. It's just that's just what the systems tell us, right? Now that I've had a chance to calm down a little bit. My first instinct would be, if you have the energy, and again, sometimes the best thing to do is just be like, I'm not engaging with you, and just walk away. Rose, I am so sorry you had to deal with that. Okay, I'm not gonna go off right now.
Okay, so he was clearly upset and triggered that somebody commented and asked him what is a woman. He didn't know how to answer it. It looked like he was having a bit of a meltdown right there for a second. But yeah, guys, in my opinion, whether you're a man or a woman who happens to believe in this social construct, trans men are women, if you believe in all of this stuff, you believe in it because you have to believe in it to defend the positions that you already have taken that are ludicrous. If these people want to live in La La Land and pretend that men are women and women are men and it's all just a social construct, this non-binary spectrums and all this crazy stuff that they talking about, they can believe that, but keep it over there. The problem I have is that they want everybody else to accept it, and they try to disguise it. If you don't agree with it, they try to disguise it as hate and bigotry. No, it's not hate. It's not bigotry. Man like me, you know what I'm saying? A guy like me, I'm a man. Like, I'm a man's man. I only like women. That's it. That's all I like is women. So nobody is going to be able to come along and tell me that I'm wrong for thinking what I'm thinking. I'm some bigot, or I'm hateful for not having a sexual interest in trans women. Like, once you start believing these ludicrous ideas and theories that they have, it leads you to the next crazy theory and the next crazy theory and the next crazy theory. That's why you really just got to nip this stuff in the bud and just call a spade a spade. I know what a woman is. I could point at one. My mom's a woman. My girlfriend's a woman. You know, all of my friends, all of my male friends, they're men. Like, you know, I know what a man is. I know what a woman is. For me, it's not confusing. But for them, it's confusing because they've taken the ridiculous anything goes position that they've chosen to take. So the burden is on them. The burden to describe what a woman is to them, it's on them. I know what it is. And most people know what it is. I mean everything I say with no disrespect, truthfully. But for people like this to call it hateful and bigotry because you don't adhere to their crazy non-existent standards of what a woman is and what a man is ridiculous to me. I plan on having a family someday of my own flesh and blood. And for that plan to happen, I have to stay rooted in what I know to be true. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. And that's the end of the story. It's not about hatefulness. It's not about bigotry. But you aren't about to change my mind on this issue. And I'm sure that many millions and millions of Americans, of people all around the world, think the same way that I do. But that's it for the video, you guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe when you're at the door. Let me know what you thought about all this, you guys. But until next time, I'm out. Peace.